Did, you guys read over the minutes? Do we have any?
I make a motion to accept.
All in favor?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
Jake, you can start us out. Mhm.
I have some reports here for you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As you guys take a look at that, we've got some grounds to cover here. So, you take a look at gross sales, we had $37,506.40. That number is slightly off. We did have a couple of things on here that shouldn't really be on here. Sorry.
Could you come up here?
Oh, my apologies.
Mitch can't hear you.
Forgive me, it's first time doing this.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Yeah, so what we actually made was $36,356.40. Last year, we only made about $31,982. So we did make more this year than we did last year.
We started later.
Yes, we did. Yes, that was another thing I was gonna say. So the total amount of people we had this year was 7,381. Last year, we had a bit more. They had 664 more people last year. But regardless of opening only 24 days later, we made more even though we opened later. Let's see another. So if you just look at you guys' sale reports, some of the things that are on here, we got Dwayne right here for $152.40. And we also have Summer Parks Program chicken and Summer Parks Program potatoes. That was just kind of an incident that was on there that the link to the Square account. I'm sure, Kim, you know about that.
Sure.
So yeah, that's why the number is slightly off.
Okay.
One thing that Lori wanted me to point out is that the fundraising parties that we had, they were very successful, and Lori says that we should try to continue doing those if that's all right with you guys.
And I can tell you, we made $240 on the sound bowls and we had 31 people show up. So it was $5 minimum donation, but they were throwing 20s at me, so 240 this time, and I can't remember exactly how much it was for the last one, but it was close to that, so.
I don't have anything else to say. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
The only thing I could bring up is that we're having the adult pool party this coming Saturday. It's
Supposed to be 90 and then in Sunday we close the pool, so it ought to be a lot of fun. Hopefully a lot of people show up.
Yes.
And thanks. This is our assistant manager. I didn't introduce him properly, and he did us a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Didn't we have a discussion that the pool wouldn't close on the weekends in September as long as we had guards?
And we don't.
And we have none?
They're all in sports. It's really hard, right? You know, we had to close this week and then we'll be open this weekend and then that will be it. I think Lori might have one party after that.
Friday night, we have a party going on, and then Saturday, we have the adult party and opening the normal hours from 11 to 7.
Okay.
And on Sunday, it'll be another 11 to 7 or 12 to 7 day. And then
Okay.
we'll have my guards and everybody go ahead and put stuff up for the season.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Dwayne?
Just to piggyback off that, so then once after Sunday, then we'll let the pool sit and we'll get with Jared, because I believe they were gonna come back
They are.
and help with the shutdown of the pool, because it's gonna be different
Yes.
in the way we did it before, so they're gonna come back and help us get the pool shut down then for the season.
He has our ladder.
Okay, and then, so then looking forward then, between now then and next season, we'll go ahead and get some of the other things done that needs to be done, like the light poles, water fountain. We're gonna need to look at, replacing the controls for the ADA chairlift. Because the one is 10 years old, the battery we have found now won't take a charge. And and the thing is, it's old enough now, you can't just buy a replacement battery for it. They don't make that type of battery anymore.
He had a suggestion.
Have you checked with Battery Plus? They got every kind of battery you can think of.
The problem is that it's special just to that unit. They don't use that battery. It's not like a D-cell thing. It's manufactured for that unit. And the new ones actually have other controls and stuff in it, so you can operate it off of a cord. And so to replace that, then we have to replace the controller also.
What's a new lift gonna cost us?
We shouldn't have to replace the lift. We'll just have to replace the controls.
Can you get controls for that lift? Can you get controls for the lift?
Yes, the control unit itself is separate from the actual physical lift part of it. And it's an upgrade to the lift we have, but it'll interchange with it. And I'll have, before we order one, I'll let you know what the prices are. It's off the top of my head, it's probably gonna be a couple of grand.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's.
Well, the new one, I suggest we take the battery out at the end of the year then and put it on the shelf.
Well, what's happened, and again, it's because, I mean, it's 10 years old. I don't think we can expect a battery unit like that, especially if it doesn't get charged and recharged very often. The contacts on the battery itself were corroded, and we cleaned those up. The contacts on the old control unit were also corroded from being out, exposed to chlorine all summer. And so I think 10 years is probably, that's probably the life of it. So I don't know what that whole unit cost with the lift originally, but it's been 10 years. So, let's see, I don't have any other parks update other than splash pad. We'll keep that on for the time being until we get to the point. I think last year we ran until like the middle of September.
Yeah.
And so I anticipate we'll probably do the same thing unless the weather turns.
Okay.
So splash pad will still be open after the pool. So people still have that available. And on the climbing wall, actually, I got a phone call today about the climbing wall. They emailed me a form that's got to be filled out because they need some measurements, physical measurements, and they've got like a drawing for it. So we make sure we get the right hardware and all that stuff for mounting it. So more to come on that, but it's in the process. So that's all I have with that. The other thing, and I don't know if you want to bring this up as new business, but with the, I want to bring up on the White House that we purchased. If you want to have a discussion on, I know we've talked about this before, about tearing that house down. I think at some point we need to have a discussion about tearing that down. If you want to make a decision about that tonight, I estimate that the cost to tear it down is going to be somewhere between 15 and 20,000. And if you decide you want to go ahead and get that done, then I would suggest that you take a vote and give me a up to $20,000, and then we'll go and find contractor, and we'll get some bids or quotes, and then we'll figure out how to get it tore down.
Have you
Check the bucket, or the budget, do we have like a,
So there, let's see, actually, I think I brought it with me. I can give you an idea where we could take that from. So under, actually, we could probably take that out of buildings because it is a building. It's just, the maintenance is actually going backward. But right now we have $80,000 earmarked buildings. And so we could probably take it out of that. I can take I can check with Beth. As far as maintenance at the park, right now we're at basically 50% of our budget for that, which is 50,000. So, I mean, we could take it out of there, but that's gonna make things close for the rest of the year for maintenance. But I would suggest taking it out of buildings. And so we do have a budgeted line item for that. That would cover that.
Should we double check and ask Beth to make sure? I mean, even though it's there, that,
Well, we could do that contingent to checking with Beth to make sure. we're
Yeah,
covered.
yeah, okay, I had a question, because I was gonna get an estimate from Billy. My question is, when that's tore down, it has a basement, so are we tearing it down, taking out the concrete foundation walls and
Has
all
to.
that?
By ordinance, it has to. It all
Okay.
has to come.
so if we wanted to put the new building right there, then it would be good to go.
Yep,
Everything gotta be cleared up.
yeah,
Pardon?
All debris, everything has to be clear.
right.
clean,
Okay,
clear.
all right, okay,
Yep.
I just needed to know that, okay.
When you're talking about the 80,000 that's in building, for parks, take it. And what do you need going to the end of the year?
For buildings, I don't have anything else planned on buildings right now. We do have, some improvements to the park maintenance building we have to do yet, but I think there is a line item for other than buildings for that we'll take it from, so.
Would that be a place that we could get like another little shed for at the pool? Can,
Something like that come out of that.
Could, that's the one thing that we looked at is the one separate garage in the back. That actually is about the size that we could use for that. And it's not in bad shape. It would just be a matter of figuring out how we could get it moved from that location over to the pool. And then just set it, have another foundation built for it and set it on there.
The
I mean-
door is good on it and the floor and the. rest.
Yeah, everything else in it is good.
Okay,
Actually, so I really, if we can't use it there, I'd like to put it somewhere up there by the Snoopy building or someplace and still have some more building to store stuff in. I
right,
just hate to see that piece get torn down.
right, okay,
And also just, well, if you guys want to make a decision about that, at some point, we're gonna have to tear it down. We're not doing any maintenance on it. I don't want us to expend any money on keeping it maintained.
have you had any problems? Any?
No, not at this
Good. Okay, it's up to you guys.
The only thing I have is that the city police have requested to use it to do some practice on the indoors for, some of their scenario stuff. And that's something too that I told them I'd bring to you to get an okay on. So, and I didn't think it would be a problem, but that's really up to you guys.
Do we need to get bids on that, removal?
Yes, we'll take care of that. As long as you, like, if you'll approve for up to 20,000, then we'll go and we'll do the quote process and then we'll come back. Yes,
and then that's also talking to Beth too,
right. And then contingent on Beth saying we got them. Right.
And if it come out of the parks buildings and 20 grand, motion to take 20 grand out of the parks building to tear the house down.
Yeah, I second it.
okay, all in favor?
Yeah, I would just say that building, I would probably just keep it over there because it's gonna be it'd be I would rather have just an all metal building over there with no windows and everything else.
Right.
And then that way it's a maintenance-free building over there, rather than have to try and, that's pretty wide and pretty tall and have to try and move it. You just have to move it up the hill where it's at.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think, personally, I think that would probably be the best bet.
So I'll come back to you next month with some quotes on a small building that we can store chemicals in.
And then I would say, I motion that we let the city police use the building. I don't have an issue with that.
They gotta have insurance. They want them fall down the stairs and then, well, we got.
City employees.
Yeah, they're city employees.
All right,
And I think that's all I have. If you have any questions on anything?
Landon, Do you have anything?
Far as Parks Department goes, as you can see from the activity report, season's kind of slowing down a little bit, which is nice. I think our guys really needed it. Everything's going great, no issues or complaints as far as that goes. Kind of getting the parks back to looking good and how they should.
Right. Everything's looking nice, thank you. Okay. Anthony?
Attached to our report, I got a couple of quotes on there for the, you guys can just take a peek at that real quick. First thing, we had a lot of irrigation problems last week. And we had 7 main lines break. So we spent a lot of time fixing them up. So our course is kind of struggling a little bit from it, just because the irrigation wasn't able to water, didn't get enough rain, we're kind of in a little bit of a drought. That was like 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 17. We had pipe, the 2.5-inch pipe. Second thing on here, we got our greens mower came in Friday, so we got all the equipment that we ordered from last year came in, so we're good on that. We have a couple workmen's that need some attention. I cannot get parts for them, it's hard to keep them maintained. They're becoming a safety hazard. One that has no brakes on it, I can't get any parts to fix them. They're 20 years old and we need to figure something out with them. We're on down utility vehicles and that's kind of a big part of our job, being able to haul things, so on and so forth, and the kids being able to go out and perform their tasks. Attached are the quotes for them. There's a quote for John Deere and a quote for Stormo. On John Deere side, they're the same vehicles that we have now, the 2030A diesels. Taking the repair of them comes in at $81,084.31. And the Toro, I think they come in about $68,000, I want that.
$68, $372.
Okay, so it's about 20% less than the John Deere's.
Is this something that can wait until like
January,
We can probably make it work. I mean, being this far into the season, it's just something.
Don't you think, Dwayne? Don't you think with our,
Capital expenditure budget that you gave to Gary Hartley?
Well, Lee, or you kind laid out a 3,
Yeah.
5, and 10-year capital
Yeah.
expenditure budget with Gary.
Yeah, these ones here would have probably been, I'd have to go back and look, since it's a couple of years we've done that, it's probably getting close to it. But when I put that into them, it's subject to change, it's not set in stone, because we might have something go out like this Toro, and we can't get parts for it, so that might get moved to the head of the line, and that's kind of what happened. So, you know.
I think we need to vote.
We need things for that. So, all I need is a kid to be on it, brakes go out, and go into a pond, drown, something like that, so it's kind of parked right now. The other one is kind of limping along, we're kind of fixing it as we can. The two, gators that we have, or 3 gators we have, them work perfectly fine, them are only about 5 years. So, but the other one's got 5,000 to 6,000 hours, if you were to break it down to say miles, we have like 280,000 miles. So, yeah, but it's something that's probably like that first year, we can make something work out. Even if we were to order something, it wouldn't come in till, God knows when, it could be summer of next year when it comes.
Which one would you rather have, the Toro or the John Deere?
Just depends on what I plan on doing. So the Gators are a little bit more reliable. They cost a little bit more money. They're universal for putting in. So say we want to buy a new, say, spreader that's self-contained. We could actually buy an SDI unit that just slides into the back.
Okay,
And so, and it usually fits any one of them. But if I had, I would pick something that was, so between the ones that we have, believe it or not, the John Deere is gonna outperform and, you know, just more comfortability, more space, stuff like that, than the XD or Workman's have. So, you know, but then there's a $12,000 price difference too. So, But for I guess it'd have to come down to availability also, you know, which one is available, which one's not available. So I gotta wait a year and a half for one, or 6 months. Obviously, I'll go with 1 to 6 months. We don't have to wait for that.
So it's okay with you if we just like put this off closer to the.
Yeah,
beginning
yeah,
of
it's something we can
year?
go revisit. again.
After the first of the year, we can
Yeah.
address it.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like the budget meeting when we have that, kind
Right,
of just
yeah,
throw it out there and kind
okay.
of play around with it, see what we have.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Last thing I have on there is something in the near future, you know, doesn't have to be anytime this year, just something you might want to think about later on next year. Is we have trouble keeping employees, you know, they work for a few months, you know, like when they're here and then they leave, you know, or they find other jobs and they don't return. So if we're able to extend some kind of benefits to maybe like 2 people out there, so we have a total of 3 full-time employees out there, I think it would be a little easier keeping things moving along versus everybody leaving and not knowing who's coming back. You know, at least I can depend on these people coming back and knowing that at
Okay.
least we're gonna be able to get, you know, most of our job accomplished versus just taking a crapshoot at if they're coming back. And that's what it seems a lot to happen, you know, so. In the winter time, our hours start to kind of dwindle, daylight dwindles,
Right.
so it plays a lot of role on a lot of people who have, you know, need the finances to be able to survive, so.
All of January, they'd be off.
I would have to create a lot of stuff. We can probably manage something. Most of the time, it's for the longest time, it was just a budget problem. You know, with people not being able to work for so long because of the benefits, we kind of worked past that. But we're still, you know, we're still in that. The only ones that are staying are the ones that have retirements. So the older gents are there. Now I do have one that stays long, but usually they'll come in and they'll leave the next year because they can go get a full-time job with benefits, which I don't blame them. So, and that's kind of, you know, if we want to get a real good crew, it might be something you might want to consider in the future. You know, doesn't have to be today, doesn't have to be tomorrow, just think about it, put it on the back burner, and we'll revisit again in a few months and see if there's something that we can make happen. And if not, you know, it's just, you know, I figured I'd bring it to your attention and we go for it.
Thank you.
So, you guys got anything for me? Other than-
I played 18 holes of golf with Trent.
Oh, and thanks, Saturday.
I never played golf in my life, so I got to see the whole place. It was like, I had no idea where we were going. I was totally, I was impressed and I had a lot of fun. My back still hurts because I.
Yeah.
Someone snakes instead of
Yeah.
in the ball, but
Tough carrying the team, isn't it?
yeah.
See, apparently,
I was a good putter.
apparently you want to add some extra stress to your life, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's kind of what it does. It brings extra stress.
That's what I keep
You don't need
hearing.
extra stress, don't golf.
No.
But yeah, I mean, the course is looking nice, other than our irrigation problem we had that kind of set us back a little bit, and that kind of happens, you know, we gotta let it. The one we had to let dry for 3 days. I mean, it had so much water down that hole, we just couldn't get it pumped out. So we had, so we have a little bit of, you know, dryness out there, but for the most part, it's in pretty good shape.
Okay, somebody asked me, is there fish in the ponds?
Yeah, there is.
No?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There is.
There's big fish in there, yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's all different kinds of them in there. But yeah, but other than that, that's all I really have. Yeah, if we can just come back and address the 2 things, the workman and the employment issue, you know, here in the next few months or something.
Sure.
See where we're at.
Okay.
That's fine with me too.
Thank you.
So. Guys, you got anything? Good. All righty, thank you.
Abby?
Yeah, we're ready for the parade. Lindsay will be there next Saturday. We have 5 or 6 leaders coming. They'll be in their vests. Lindsay's really happy about those. We reached out to campers. They're going to be a little harder to recruit. Lindsay reached out to some personal families she knew. Some of them are just already assigned to sport and extra activities. So she set a feeler out in emails to all those parents last week. I haven't heard if any reached out, but we'll have the leaders. We'll have Moody driving a bus, and we're good to go on that. And Lindsay and I have a meeting together at the beginning of September before our next Parks program meeting, and by then we'll have met with Jana about the school as well.
Okay.
And we'll have all our final numbers.
Okay.
And I brought shirts for you guys in City Hall. Sorry, not enough for everybody.
I'm gonna say it right, Neva.
Neve, okay.
Yeah, I'm a part of the civil code.
Yep.
Hello, board members. I'm here to give you an update on my hammock in the park Eagle Project. My Eagle Project was approved on July 31st. Tonight I'll be launching my fundraiser. As you see on my flyer, there's a QR code. You can scan to open an online payment option. I am looking to raise about $1,200. That is about 12 hammock stands. Those who donate $100 to my Eagle Project, they will receive a plaque that will go on the hammock stand, like the books at the city park. I'd like to schedule a time to meet with a board member and groundskeeper for the park to know where you would like these stands to go. I would also like to arrange 811 to come out and survey both areas, either arranged by the parks department or myself. Do you have any questions or concerns?
Okay, so what I would say is, okay, and Landon and Dwayne, and Kim, if we can go and see where we want the hammocks at, and then that way we have a better idea over where we can kind of mutually agree with, okay, well, where we want to have them. And I know there's work going on at the city park coming up in September. So it kind of give us an idea. Nevaeh, what parks were you looking at having them at?
I was having them at the city park and the beach.
Okay, okay. And I mean, do you guys see any issues right off the bat with those two parks? Okay, so let's, if we just focus on where we want to have them, you know, and I'd rather you guys look instead of Nevaeh meeting with 6 different people. We could kind of come up and consolidate. And then Nevaeh is what I would recommend. I love this idea. It's great. And then how about at the next meeting, you collect as much money as you can? All right? Okay, and I'm gonna donate to this as well. So I want my name on one of those posts.
Okay.
It'd probably be ripped off and thrown in the water in 3 days, but anyway, I will donate. Okay, and that way it give us an opportunity to find out exactly where we want them. And then that way you would have the money. And then by the next meeting, get as much money as you can. And then we may have to make an adjustment. Let's say you only get $900 or something like that. Next meeting, we'd be in a better position to come up. So how many units? It's 3 per unit, right?
Yeah,
So you're looking at putting 4 of them up?
yeah.
Okay, so what we would do is we'd look, does everybody know what it kind of looks like? It's a triangle. So you have 3 4x4 posts, and a hammock goes between this post and this post, this post and this post, and this post and this post. So you have 3 hammocks between three posts, 4x4 posts. So then people could lay there, read books or hang out or whatever. So I think it's a phenomenal idea. So in the next month, you raise as much money as you can, and then you come back here, and then we look at that. And in the meantime, Landon and Dwayne, if you guys kind of look, and then Kim, I know you with the butterfly garden, and I know Lindsay was like, she does the yoga in there, and she's like, I have a special request or whatever. So we kind of come up. So by the next meeting, and then Dwayne, the question I have is, do we need for the lines and everything else? Do you know where everything's laid out, or do we have to kind of call and?
We've got a map.
Okay, so she wouldn't have to call the utility places to get them. Okay, so that answers that. So you're not gonna have to worry about call before you did. All right. So, does that sound like a good approach, or is there any?
Yeah.
Okay, so we all know what we need, and we just kind of look at where we actually want them. And I would look, and then Dwayne and Landon, as you're driving around in the next couple weeks, and then I'd do a follow-up with you guys to see if, and Kim, I'll do a follow-up to see where you guys kind of come up with them or want them, or you know, you got the butterfly gun, you know, if they want them beside that or whatnot. And then, we move forward on that. Does anybody else?
So Ed, is that $100 for each of the, when there's three there, is that $100 for each of the three that are there? Is that part of the 12? I think she said 12.
Yeah.
There's gonna be 12, but each one would be 100. I mean, it'd be $300 for each unit.
$1,200.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then are these sturdy enough to say, hold somebody of your stature? I'm just curious.
Okay. You might wanna make one with ribbon.
The
No.
the eye hooks are rated for 350
Yes.
Okay.
I know, yeah.
So we will see how it goes. Okay, but if what it is, maybe we do put some safety instructions on it or whatever.
Now, is that $350 per hammock or is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because each hammock's between a 4x4 post and they're gonna be concreted in, correct?
Yes.
So they will be concreted in and everything else. So,
I would suggest a 6x6 actually.
okay,
4x4s tend to bow. I would
do you have it rated for 4x4s?
go overkill
Yeah.
for 6x6.
I would maybe modify it and go with the 6x6 then, cause I agree. That would be a little bit more easy, but the only thing I see with the 6x6 is how, you know, cause that's no longer square. We'd figure it out. Because now you're having two hammocks go.
What's the difference between 4x4 and 6x6 as far as?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think it'll matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would upgrade it a little bit, even if,
It's not gonna cost you much more for 3 6x6 versus 4x4.
yeah,
Okay.
and you shouldn't have any issues at all. You got somebody who owns a lumber yard and somebody who manages a bank.
I'm not advocating that.
So,
You gotta put
no,
a
but,
book on it, so I remember.
but does that sound good? That way you can
Yeah.
collect as much money. It gives you a month.
Yeah.
And then you could come in and then also modify your Eagle Service project to see, instead of it being 4x4s, go do an estimate to see how much the 4x6s cost.
Okay.
Or 6x6, you said 6x6, okay, 6x6s.
Okay.
I have a question. How tall are the posts? Is there any way to be able to have canvases over them eventually?
I mean,
Shade.
you can get as tall a post you want, you get 16 footers, but they're heavy and they're expensive.
Most of the time, they're only like a couple feet off the ground.
Oh, okay. You want to just get that idea?
Well, now would be the time to plan for it because you can't add to a post length very easy.
No, I mean, I
Right.
just thought it might be nice to have some shade when you lay in a hammock. Just a thought.
Yeah. Or,
They do have these triangular canopies, have you seen them, you know, that would, if you laid it out right, it could be a pretty cool idea to have that shade over the hammocks. You got a lot of work ahead of you.
yes, Dwayne.
Are these something that we'll take down?
No,
No?
I'm pretty sure. I don't have my mind.
You bring your
Yeah, you
Oh,
bring in your.
oh, you bring
own.
your own?
You bring your
Yeah.
own hammock.
Bring your own.
Bring your own, yeah.
Hammock's a standard.
Like going swimming,
What?
That's a-
take your own. You know,
Like a mattress.
Well, let me ask you this, is, if they bring their own hammock and it breaks, and it's the hammock's fault, any liability to us? Wouldn't be, would there?
If it's their own stuff.
I don't know. Mr.
Yeah,
Perkins is right behind you. You could ask him.
You're supposed to know you're the president.
Andy,
Two for anything.
I would just email Andy. He's ignoring me though.
We have an attorney right here. What's your thoughts on that?
I said, Wayne, gave the right answer, someone's finally been listening, you can sue someone for anything.
Amen.
So is there a king and queen size then?
Yeah, but the standard length is the same.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Alrighty,
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
bye. Okay, Troy.
Thank you.
Good evening. And a few pieces of paper, and I'll tell you what's important on here, because like I said, there's plenty of information that'll be irrelevant to you guys unless you want to race in the hokum carob. Yeah, I know. My name's Troy Pryor. I'm the head cross-country coach at Rochester High School. First year as the high school head coach, served the last 2 years as the middle school head coach. Over the summer, we were able to contract with Winnemac High School and North Miami High School to host our first cross-country meet. Probably with other schools in the last 5 years or so. I know in the 3 years I've been coaching in the program, we have not hosted a traditional cross-country meet. Historically, we have always used the city park as our home course. Outside of the period, I think eons ago, long before I was a runner at Rochester High School, we used the golf course. But otherwise, it's been the city park since it's right next to the high school. So we are hoping this Saturday, August 16th, to host it there again. Like I said, there are only 2 other schools joining us, North Miami and Winnemac. We expect no more than 50 to 75 total people, athletes, coaches, fans included. Our goal is to have teams begin arriving between 8 a.m. and 8:15 a.m. And to wrap up awards no later than 11:15 a.m. So all told, maximum amount of time that we would be occupying the park in any way would be about 3 hours and 15 minutes for all teams. There would be a small period after awards where the Rochester High School team would tear down the course. The only thing that goes into maintaining the course is a series of flags that indicate which direction the kid needs to turn. We own the flags, the cross-country team does. We would be responsible for putting them up, tearing them down, and making sure there was no visible footprint after we're done. The other thing that I think would be a big concern, at least for me, having gone to several cross-country meets, is waste. So Rochester High School and the high school cross-country team will provide cans in the camp area as well as trash bags, and then we would take care of removing the waste from that area, because there are things like water bottles and granola bars that get consumed. So we'll make sure each team has the ability to dispose of their waste, and we will take care of it. The other issue that I want to address is parking and occupancy of the park. So there's a little map on here that's hard to read on the 3rd page because it's not in color. I apologize for that. But our goal is to utilize the 13th Street entrance as a drop-off point for buses, so that they could drop the teams there. They would set up camp somewhere around where the T-ball field is, that open field at the top of the initial hill, close to the high school fence by the track, as long as there's nothing else going on in that area. Otherwise, we are able to move either further north, or we could move further east. However, we have to move to let the team set up. With it only being 3 teams, campsites would be pretty small. I don't think they would take up the entire T-ball field, to be honest, up there.
Right.
Probably talking a couple of, 10 by 10 tents maybe at most, that would be set up. And our team will probably just throw a tarp down because I think we're supposed to be sunny as of now. And then for bus parking, we want to utilize the high school. So there is a triple header in volleyball Saturday as well. And so because most cross-country teams travel in smaller buses, not the full-size yellows, the athletic director has said it is fine for us to utilize the front of the high school for bus parking. And if we had to for a full-size bus, we should be able to utilize the standard bus parking lot that we use for pickup and drop off outside of the tennis courts. So that will keep any buses out of the park. The front of the high school is also where we want to encourage. I've already sent a letter to the other teams and to our parents saying that we encourage families to park at the high school if possible, because the front of the high school does act as an access point to the park. It's just a minor walk, but if you're a cross-country parent or a cross-country fan, we expect you to be able to walk and run a little bit. So I don't have a problem doing that to our fans. like I said, it'll mostly be parents of kids. And they're accustomed to this at other meets at other schools. The course itself, where they'll be running, is a 1 mile loop. Specifically in the, it's all isolated to the southeast side of the park by the big sledding hill and where the disc golf course is. We would not access any other part of the park, say the park proper or anywhere around the baseball fields. We would be across 13th Street from the minor league field. But we will not cross the streets. We won't be on the roads. We will just be in the grassy areas, running around in that, like I said, that southeast kind of corner. And that's where the course will be isolated to. And I don't expect any more than, I think we'll probably have the most kids at about 20. And they won't run all at once. We'll have girls and then boys race. So traffic should be pretty minimal as far as foot traffic in that area. Fans would probably be encouraged to use the facility. There's the bathrooms right by the basketball court. We'd probably encourage them to go there if they had to use the restroom. But then we also have the restrooms down at the far corner if they had to go that route. But and then as far as traffic control, we do have parental volunteers that are going to help guide parents from visiting schools to where they need to be. And our AD has said that he has no problem bouncing between the volleyball games and our event to help us control traffic and try and keep our footprint as minimal as possible. Last note that I have on this is just about the finance side of it for the cross-country team. We are typically I would call us a money loser. Now, it's a small amount of money, but a money loser for the athletic department. We are not like, football's our money. We are not. But this gives us a chance to bring in some funds through our contract with the other schools, roughly a few $100s as the size of the contract they'll sign to come race with us. And so it gives us an opportunity to give back some of the contract money that we spend to go to other invitationals and other schools. I think the long-term goal, just to kind of put it on your radar, is that we would start hosting it, if we can, a few more meets a year to try and raise more of that money back. But we have other avenues of fundraising, whether it's serving concessions at football, basketball games, or doing other outside fundraiser projects. So we do what we can to try and get money back to the school. And then the non-financial impact, I think it's good to invite some local area high school students and their families into our parks, let them experience them and see that this is maybe a drivable option for them. And if nothing else, hopefully we can get some good photos for you guys. You're more than welcome to post on any social media that you have as far as our utilization. And then we would also be posting on our own cross-country social media. So that would be the exposure. I think that's all I've got. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I think it's phenomenal.
Okay.
My only concern is on that 16th. We
Yeah.
did that basketball.
You did.
It's
I just
scheduled.
confirmed because
That's what I
I
was-
wasn't here
Okay.
when they came to read, and I asked him what area, because I just wanted to make sure, because I wasn't here. He said that the area that he is going to be at is mostly the basketball court. He did not indeed rent the big pavilion,
Okay.
but they have a 3-on-3 basketball
Okay.
tournament that they're
Okay.
doing there in that basketball
same
court
area, yeah.
area. So I was trying to listen and see if
Yeah.
it would be.
No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And that's why we
That's
like to
my
utilize the
only
high school.
concern,
Yes,
but,
yeah.
but if you guys are over there and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the restrooms, you guys could both
Yeah, we
share.
can share the
And,
restrooms.
and then there's that tournament. And that's the only thing that I would say to you is
Yes,
just because, I just want you to know that there's
Nope.
gonna be a 3-on-3
Yes.
basketball tournament.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
telling me, because now I will share that information with the other coaches and strongly encourage other fans, visiting fans, that they need to park at the high school if at all possible.
Right.
That's where and I know that we'll have the bus lot, where the bus drivers park. That lot should be wide open. It's right there off the softball field. That's maybe a
Right.
100-meter walk to
Yeah.
our cross-country course, so.
And the thing is, you said you're gonna be out of there by 11:15. So,
Yes.
so usually the park gets busy
Yeah.
starting at 11 or whatever.
Yeah,
So
our
I
goal-
don't see everybody's coming to the park at the same time.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is even for the athletes,
Mhm.
it is nice that if you're on a team, that you have one home meet
Yeah, yeah.
throughout the whole season.
It's definitely
And,
something
you know,
we wanted to bring back, to have a senior night if nothing else.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and that is, but, and you hit the nail on the
Yeah.
head, and, you know, I mean, I even think for in the future, we really need to support them, because, you know, if you're an athlete, and I've never heard of any sport that every one of your meets is an away meet.
Yeah.
I just never
That-
heard
Yeah,
that.
it was
And I
never the
mean,
case when I graduated in '05. Yeah, we had several home meets, usually small meets like this, 2 or 3
Right,
schools,
right.
but yeah.
and I
you
mean,
always raise
even
somebody.
parent night, I mean, you know, you know, you're an athlete, you work hard in your sport, and you don't even have a home meet for your parent night. So I mean, I think I commend you on everything that you're doing, because it is great for the athletes, and it gives them memories and everything else, so anything, in my opinion, anything we could do for you to
Awesome.
make it work.
That is all.
Oh.
And we want to work with you as well as far as like the tournament stuff.
Yeah, and I think they have, he said they have one flight, like one tournament at 8,
Okay.
and then that's for the kiddos, and then
Yep.
the second one will start at 1.
Oh,
So
perfect.
there might be
Okay.
like a break in the middle. He wasn't sure.
Perfect, yep. And we will work with them. I mean, my thought is we can always utilize the high school parking. And we have that ability, you know, that's easy for us to make that claim to parents that, hey, it's a high school event, we want you at the high school.
Yeah.
And
But
that's what- yeah.
if you have 20
Yeah.
runners
Yeah.
and you have the most out of the team,
Yeah.
it's not like you're gonna,
Th-
it's
yeah,
not like a
this shouldn't
home
be a
football game
yeah,
where you're
no.
having problems with
Yeah.
parking.
That should not be a big crowd.
Dwayne, did you have a
I have a
comment?
question. Where's the start finish gonna be at?
Yep, so the start finish will be, I can kind of show you on the map, there's I'm sorry.
Here, you could
Yeah.
use my map
Okay,
for him.
And say. And I apologize again, difficult to see, but. It's right here, so we will be in. Across the basement.
I don't understand why the end is
In that tree, the start
Okay.
finish area, they would
Okay.
loop close to the street, but not on it, around it. Yep.
Yeah,
So yeah, the goal is to keep them away from the streets, away from.
Sure.
traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
So in previous meets, they used to start at high school, from
Yeah.
high school run. finish
Yeah,
there.
that was,
So this is gonna be to the east of basketball court,
yep,
east of the bathrooms in
Yeah.
that area there.
yeah,
Just some background too, and I always encourage that. In fact,
Yeah.
our son was the coach before Troy.
Yep.
But like 4 or 5 years ago, they had, and one of the issues is that their schedule doesn't get built in the same timing that we do all of our rentals for pavilions and all that. And so we had like 6 teams.
Mhm.
We tried to close off the park, but we had one family that had a family reunion at pavilion number 1. At the same time, we were trying to do all this. And so, and because of the size of it, we were trying to limit the car traffic inside the park just because of the number of people we had. And it really is a neat thing. If you've been to one of the big regional meets,
oh,
like
yeah.
what's the one up north at,
Culver Academy, New Prairie.
New
Yeah,
Prairie?
New Prairie's, yeah.
It's really kind of a cool thing. It's like a Renaissance thing, but you got all these tents with all their little flags and everything.
It's,
And,
yeah,
it's really quite an event.
It's a trip.
And to have something like that here would be cool.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
trying to get the timing so
exactly.
we could dedicate the park to that, it makes it a
Yeah,
challenge.
I think
So,
long term, we would, not necessarily New Prairie big by any stretch, but I mean, long term, obviously, if we could build something bigger, then we're all, you know, the school's always happy for it because you know, we get the funds for that from the other schools. So that's the beauty of the contract if we can get them signed. But our objective is to start small. I should stress this is high school only too. Some will do high school, middle school. We are not doing a middle school race simply because this is our first run at it in about 5 years or so, like Dwayne had said. And we're trying out kind of a different course layout. And we just want to get our heads wrapped around what this looks like with a couple of local schools that are also smaller like we are, and get our heads around it. And then if it goes well, then we may hopefully get some teams signed up earlier, and then we can bring this to your attention maybe next spring instead of instead of the week before. But thank you, Dwayne.
Yep.
Anything else?
Do we need a vote on it, or?
Oh, they can use the park.
Alright.
Give them the okay to use the park.
So don't want to,
Or do we have to vote on it?
Might as well make a
Okay.
motion.
I make a motion that Rochester High School is able to run their cross-country meet on the 16th of this month, and
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
you.
Troy.
I thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I just had something real quick. So you guys will know when you start. Letitia Holloway did the mural, 30 years ago. And the pool. She used to be an artist here in town. So that had some wear and tear. I told you guys I had Tim's Body Shop put a coat of clear finish on it, and Jim Scott came and spent a whole week at the pool in the party room touching it up. So they're gonna put in pictures of Jim painting it, so thank you thing, and to Letitia honoring her for doing it, so that's really good. Okay. Bryce Sheets.
Or bring them up, all the actual one up there for you. You said you had 3 extra. You guys tonight.
Good.
Good.
And I have one, I think.
Yeah, we only got, you didn't get everything.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
MRE.
There you are. You guys had an extra person.
We did.
You got to them as well.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then I would like to hook up this TV if that's possible. My laptop.
You're asking a lot from me. There you go.
That cord right there.
We landed about TV. And Dwayne,
Isn't this
Jana
cord?
last meeting asked
What Matt
come up
said.
with a list for stuff for the high schoolers to do.
Yes. Because I got everything on here, but I got.
We don't have a complete list yet, but we
Okay.
could bring.
Yeah, I think she needed it by the end of this month or something.
Okay. Yep. I'll get
I
it.
want to make sure that we don't want to go into detention with her.
Thank you.
You what?
Should I go there?
If you're going to be able to do.
I think we, they pretty good. We'll see.
Yeah, and just ask them, off the record.
Do they need that for like community service?
Well, look, what they're going to do that day,
Some different
last
samples
meeting,
of
Jana's
it.
going. The whole school system.
So
And
this
they're
is
gonna
that
have a
shade
day of
fabric.
community service.
Oh,
So
you were talking
they're
about
gonna
maybe putting
form
over
out
the
all the
hammocks.
students
To
to be
have
able
different colors
to
for
do
that.
tasks.
Oh,
I'll talk about that in here too.
I think it was in September. Or October, somewhere there, but she needed the list by the end of this month. And I would also include the age group in there as well. Cause you don't want elementary school kids or middle school kids coming over if it's high school, if you need some heavy lifting in that.
Right.
So I would kind of give the age group on that.
So I have one more thing.
I just wondered, we had, like last, spring, we had some students that came to the house, paint picnic and stuff, because they needed community service point for their, something for their graduation.
Yeah, but see, this is gonna be the same way. I mean, in Avon, we had a junior day of caring where all the juniors in the high school, but we had 710 of them.
These are awesome.
So they're gonna close down all the schools and they're gonna have a day of caring and they're gonna go out.
Want some candy?
So then that way, even if it's painting the table.
Do we need to see the TV?
then that way
Yes.
they know, and we
So,
might wanna need-
once they get everything, I'm just gonna go ahead and start and just introduce
Paint or
myself real
whatever
quick
we
while
need.
I get things set up.
Yeah.
I like to talk to everybody, so I feel awkward if I just sit here and talk to you guys, but, so I'm Bryce Sheets, I'm with Play Pros. Nice to meet you guys. Kim and I got to meet a little while back, about a month ago. We spent about 3 hours together going around and looking at all your guys' parks. And so she asked me to basically put together a handful of ideas, handful of different projects that you guys could take a look at tonight. So Nick and I, we decided to put together a couple options for each of you guys' parks and try to be mindful of the budget that you guys had placed for us. And I tried to go a little bit low on some of them, and we did a little bit higher than other ones, just to kind of give you guys a good range to see what you have to work with. So on top of that, we're based out of Kokomo, Indiana. I was born and raised around Kokomo. I lived in Kempton, Indiana. I don't know if you guys know where that's at. But we're based out of Kokomo. We represent Landscape Structures, which is a worldwide known company. They started out in 1971 as a playground company. And now they own a splash pad and Skyways, which is their shade line as well. It's nice because we can incorporate everything into a single space. It can all color coordinate and match and have just a nice cohesive looking unit. I will show you guys a couple different things that we have. This is Digifuse. So this is an aluminum panel that they put it in a vacuum chamber and heat up to extreme temperatures, and it impermeates into the aluminum. So you get a structure that you can't really take a knife, scratch this off. It's not like it's a vinyl sticker that can be peeled off. These are always great. Say we do a park and we want to have a donor board that says this was donated by, and have different levels. We're able to utilize something like this, so that way, say somebody did donate a lot of money, their stick is not gonna get peeled off in a year or two. This thing is gonna last as long as that playground's gonna last. It's not gonna rust, it's not gonna fade, and you can basically have any type of high definition image that you would like on this. So you guys can pass that around if you want to take a look at that. This is our LSI FlexNet. So this is nylon woven. It's got 6 steel cables throughout it. This is patented by LSI. We utilize this in a handful of our structures, the newest one being the Volo Air, which is one of the structures that I have for you guys tonight. It's one that I'm going to pitch for you guys for your large city park. It is the tallest structure that's accessible. It has a fully accessible pathway to the top. It's almost 30 feet tall, and it has 20-foot slide on it that a kid, that if they even have a wheelchair, if they have upper body strength, they can still get to the top of that. The closest any of our competitors go is 8 feet, and ours can go up to 20. So in the name of inclusivity, we are the leaders in the industry, and it seems like that's really where our heart and soul is making sure that everybody can play, not just fully able kids. But this is an awesome piece. You guys will get to see a little bit more about this here in a bit. These are all of our different plastics. These are what all the slides are made out of. You can see there's a bunch of different colors. And if anyone else would like to see these too, I can pass them around. And then we're talking a bit about earlier about shade. We do have a bunch of different colors for shade fabrics. So if we ever did want to do a type of shade structure over anything, we can always utilize that. Go ahead and, yeah, the pool too. So.
Did you hit it without the Wi-Fi?
See.
Do you need the Wi-Fi? Because
I might not.
I can't seem to remember the password.
I can go get my phone and have a hotspot if I need to.
Okay.
We'll see if it loads stuff. When we went out, I took some pictures.
I'm gonna get it here in a second. I just remembered what I was supposed to do. I had to get out of where I was at.
Just for sunshades.
I got to feel the texture on that. Did you feel them?
It's really strange.
It's a strange texture.
Like, we got it now.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So I'm technically not CPSI certified, so we didn't go through and do a full, like Nick had done for you guys previously. I could pull that up and go through it, but it would just take a lot more time for everybody tonight. So if you want to do more in-depth detail on this, we can. When we were out there, I took a few pictures of things that were kind of concerned for myself that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention. Just like these points here, whenever you have like PVC coated structures, whenever they have a lot of wiggle back and forth, eventually that's going to get brittle over time and create spots where you'll have pitch points. So as you can see there, you can get your finger in, and as you would climb up that and you step foot, you're going to get your finger pinching right there, and it's going to take a chunk out of your finger. So that's just a concern. As you can see in the background, it is getting pretty aged to the point where it's not something that you probably would really want to just replace on that structure. Here's a couple more pieces. You guys did fix the handles on that, which was actually pretty creative. That was one thing that they had mentioned to them. This was just some of the gapping in the wood showing its age. I will mention that you guys have done a phenomenal job at keeping Manitowoc Mountain in shape. I've been all around the state, and I've been to many wood playgrounds that have the same age, and they're not nearly as well kept as what you guys have been. So I applaud you guys for how well you guys have done with that. With wood, it is just inevitable. LSI, we started out in wood, and we've eventually moved to doing steel and now aluminum and steel structures. Just a couple of different places that you notice some issues. Kids can very easily get a big splinter or, get hurt pretty bad with some of these. Some of the slides are starting to show some wear signs there as well, and your surfacing is not up to date. That's pretty much just a crumb layer of your surfacing in there. And that is the number one cause of a killer on a playground is not having enough safety surfacing underneath for your fall heights. So depending on how tall your critical fall height is, you're supposed to have 12 inches, but it goes down to 8 if you're at a 4 foot or less. We always just go ahead and do, if we're going to do like plastic borders and or just really mulch in general, we'll always go 12 inches because you always want to be able to, as it settles for, through the year, you don't want to have to just be at the very tip top of your level. So this was just a handful of the different things that I noticed when we were out there. Let's see. Skyways. I'm just going to show you guys this. So this is the Skyways. They have a 20-year limited warranty on Skyways cool toppers, steel components, 10-year warranty on the shades. So we have a pretty good warranty on these. As you can see, they were talking earlier about having the triangle type sails. I think that's what they're referring to. So we can do some really awesome shades. We have a handful, pretty much just about everywhere. Kokomo has a lot of them. If you guys wanted to go take a look at some, we have a lot of really cool options. At Jackson Memorial Park, we just did a couple barrel cantilever shades by their splash pad that we just installed there as well. And we have the Cutler Park mini golf that's going in right now that Kokomo is doing as well with us that has a bunch of different shades there as well. And we're going to get a pavilion there put in here shortly.
Take those down.
So we have different options. We have, let's see, so this is just like a price point for you guys to see here. For a 10 by 10 shade with a single post pyramid cantilevered, you're looking at about $5,115. You go to the, so that's a stretched fabric, right? And you don't ever have to take that down. It can stay up year round, and or we do have the option to let me see it was this one. It's called the it's called rapid release. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has basically a nut on one side. One of the posts has out, and it has a hook on it that's on a shaft that rotates. So you just put a nut driver on it, and you can rotate it in so that the hook will go in, and you can tighten it back out. So it'll tighten it back out. So at the end of the year, you can go in, pull off the end cap, you put your nut on there, you just back it off. It like that hook that's on top of there, it'll back off, loosens up your tension on your top. You take it off, you store it for the year. Next year you come back out, take that cap back off, you loosen it back up, or where it's left at, you hook it all up and you tighten it back down with that.
So you said that was a 10 by 10, that's the size of the shade, 10 by 10?
Yes.
The other one,
And then that comes with, it's just,
So that one was just that, and I know I have
and you said that was 5,000?
just over, and I can send you all of this too.
I was thinking about
5,115.
We were talking about a couple.
Yes, and so for the pool, I believe we were going to do 10 footers, but as you can see, it's just a little bit more expensive for the steel cost, basically 5,330. And just to be, the 12 by 12 is a nice size, and this one's this right here. This one has the rapid release, so you can see the cost does go up a little bit more with that availability.
Now, is that installed or is that just?
That's just the materials. Generally, for our installation of shade structures, it's 50% of the cost. That's pretty much what we do on everything, and that includes all the foundation that you have to do. Like this one would require probably a 6-foot drilled pier with base plate of what we do. So it's basically a 6-foot, 2-foot hole, 18-inch rebar cage. You'd have 6 rings, foot spaced out, the 3 at the top, and then you'd just tie those all together and so on and forth. So I can always help you through that too when it comes to it. I can really give you something too if you need help. So there's different shades. I just wanted to show you another one. This is a nice one too. I was just thinking of your guys's, if you ever did need another even more shade by your guys's pool or anything, these ones are a pretty cost effective way to go about it. And I'm gonna go on to the next thing. let's go to Dantzler. So start off, let's zoom out. I'm gonna go to the pictures first, fun stuff first. So this is an option that, so Kim actually sent us a picture of something she really liked, which was very similar to this. And she said, this is what I like. Let's put together an idea off of this. She also sent me another structure of a climber that she liked. So this was basically her design that she came up with, Renee Renee, that she showed me. Very something similar to that.
Yeah.
So this is actually really cool, and it's deceiving as you look at it because it doesn't feel like it's that tall, but like this structure here is 10 foot tall, you know. So when you're on it, it's really grand. And it's a really awesome playground. I did do a couple of different colors, so you guys can see how it just even changes the feel of the playground as you go through with different colors. And as I go through this, you guys feel free to tell me what you guys do like or don't like. Now let me get to the top here. So this was with doing everything in the top of the line turf that we have, which is a 15-year warranty. Sure, he's going to be happy. Lynn will be happy that you want to go out there and fix all the wood fiber on it anymore. I did give you the sample box for that. I don't know if you still had that. I have one in the car if you'd like me to go grab one and show everybody. But the Quest line that she liked the best, it's a nylon turf, but it looks extremely grass-like and it feels amazing. And the great thing about turf, like I said, it has a 15-year warranty. It has the best in the business and stays about 20 degrees cooler than even Port-in-Place would. And your kids aren't gonna be picking it up and eating it. And you don't have the yearly maintenance costs that you do with wood fiber or the manpower that it takes to maintain the wood fiber. And you also pretty much just guaranteed that you're going to be fine on your critical fall heights, right? I know you guys have some mats underneath your swings and stuff, but if mulch gets picked up by the rain and moved off to a spot and maybe you aren't out there to check it yet and a kid gets hurt and they come out and they take pictures of that area and it's dirt, you know, it can be a hazard. Whereas if you go this route, it definitely can, you have a ton of benefits to it. That being said, let's get down to maybe. So this one here, total was $127,000. The playground equipment was $61,000. The surfacing was $45,000, and the install cost is $21,000.
Okay, on that 21,000 install, is that assuming that we will have the site ready?
Correct. So when we discussed this, just so it's on record and so that people will know, Kim and I had talked. She mentioned that you guys would likely be able to find local people that could do some of the site work and or donate their time and efforts to at least doing part of it. So this was contingent on you guys having that work done. That would be borders. If you wanted borders, which I think would be nice when we discussed it. The grass is so similar to regular grass, it'd be hard to find that distinction. And the last thing you'd want somebody to go through and accidentally mow off your turf. So it's nice to have a concrete border around this. And then you'd have a little bit of stone work, right? There'd be about 3 inches of stone to be brought in after you did some excavation, which wouldn't be too much, which I would provide all of the work details that would need to be done for all of this. I'd break it all down. Yeah.
Excited about it.
He looks very excited.
Yes.
I'm smiling on the inside.
Okay, no, you told me you were. Yeah, so, yeah, if you'll send him, I mean, once we pick.
Yeah.
Down the road.
So there's that option. Here is option 2. This one we didn't do a ton footprint. We kept the one structure because it's the one that she mentioned she really liked, and we changed the climbing structure. Instead of doing the Eclipse Net climber, we added in a saddle spinner, which is just like a perpetual motion device where you sit on it and you kind of do like a hula hoop motion, and then you get sick because you just keep spinning. And then the Qantas A3, which is just an awesome little 5 to 12 playground piece. It's perfect for a pocket park. You're going to have your slides and everything kind of over here on your left-hand side. And then this right-hand side, it's a different type of climbing structure. And there's also places to hang out underneath. And you got a belt that you walk on. So there's definitely spaces for kids. You have smaller kids to still play on, climb all around, and they give us a bit of different type of play than you do from your traditional post and deck structure. So this one came in at 135. So
What's the size of that?
the size of the pad here.
Yep.
That one's 1,800 square foot. That one's 1,800.
Hundred in numbers.
Yeah, like.
That was 30 by 60.
Okay.
30 by 60 is what that one was.
Now, let's say we wanted to add like 2 more saddle posts or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So all of these were just based off of random. She had told me $150,000 is what she said roughly, is to keep us in that ballpark of that. So I came in underneath trying to go, thinking about inflation, thinking about maybe you guys don't do this next year, maybe you don't do it this year, maybe you do it next year, maybe you do it 2 years from now. So I tried to come in and give you guys some options that show you a little bit beneath that, so that we will eventually probably get closer to that. So the border on this would be concrete, if you guys want to do that. If we didn't want to do that, we could do plastic borders. I can supply that. It's a cheaper route to go. But I think doing concrete bordering would be, it matches well with the longevity of the turf. Let's just say that. I think that if you're going to spend the money on the turf, let's have it look really nice, and we do that. If it comes down to it and we do it, it's about $35 a linear foot. You can probably find somebody to do it cheaper, local. So that's when we had these discussions. We said, yeah, well, she'd try to find somebody locally to do it, or donate some efforts towards this. So we don't have that in. I can always quote it out. And then, we say, hey, we found somebody to do it cheaper, right? That doesn't hurt us at all.
12 inches or 18 inches?
So 12 inches, 12-inch border. You can get by with doing a landscape border, where you just go in, it's like a 6-inch, but we'd have to go, you dig in 12 still. And you'd have and it's about $25 a linear foot, the way we do that.
Is this all flat? It's hard.
So yes, so the way we like to do it is to make sure it's a nice flat surface. So whenever I'm doing a surface that has borders, excavate, say you're doing 12 inches, we would excavate 6 inches out, save that dirt. We have the borders all done. And then, or whenever you do it, I guess you would save that dirt. But then we scoot all that dirt all around those borders, and we taper it back, and then reseed it. So that way, you're going to have a nice entry point all the way around the playground. You don't have a ramp with one entry point in and out of the playground. Like I've seen that where they have that and it goes right into one spot, and then you're pretty much stuck there if you're in a wheelchair. You can't turn left. You have to go all the way around if you want to get to something. Well, we want to make it so that you can go up and into an entire structure, really at any point.
So what are you putting under the grass?
So underneath the turf. So you want to go grab that box? I can show him. So the turf itself goes over the top of a foam pad. The foam pad has grooves in it that allow it, and holes, so that it allows it to funnel and drain water. And then that's placed over the top of at minimum 4 inches of crushed and compacted stone. So we generally use 53s. It packs really well because it's got the dust and stuff in it. But it does a really nice job. And
Border around there, is there raised? Is it raised?
so it wouldn't be raised. We'd do it so that it ties in, so the ground will be, so it'd be nice and level. Yes. That's how I always like to do it. So that way there's no tripping hazards. If you go 6 inches in, 6 inches out, it kind of keeps keeps the playground elevated out of the ground a bit. So you don't have any really drainage issues inside of it. Because it is going to be a little bit 6 inches higher than everywhere else.
You have to put any drainage in that?
Not necessarily. You don't have to, not unless you have bad problems with drainage in that area. We don't have to do that. Have we done it? 100%. We have. That being said, running, a couple 6 inches or 8-inch tile underneath and find a way to tie that in. I used to do that too. It would be, for that size of an area, it wouldn't be too much to do that. So here is sample box for the turf. This is the one that we were discussing about using. This is what's been quoted. As you can see that we do have the option to be able to add in some cool customability if you really wanted to. And that does add to the cost. We didn't have anything like that quoted in any of this. But there's some good possibilities to create and do different things. We do have different colors, as you can see. It's orange, different. We have a couple different blues. A lot of times people will do nice tracks. I just did one in Fort Wayne where it has that. And then this goes around the outside as a border and the kids use it as a trike track. This here is the foam.
Oh.
And I'm just going to take a look. Just get these back here. Thank you. See the panels and the whole, and they just go together. And then the phone so that would go over the top of that.
And Crush Rock.
So it's crushed rock, 4 inches of that, this, and then your safety. So yeah. So that's what that is.
See that?
Well, else wants to see it too.
Hmm.
So this one's there's Pansler. JC. Is it Jace?
Yeah, JC.
JC. Okay. So this is one of the first ones when Kim saw it in a book. She loved it. It was the Beachcomber. This one this is a little bit larger structure than what the other ones were. This is a nice 5 to 12. There's quite a bit of play in this one. I'm trying to make it really fun and bright, like we talked about. So as you can see here, there's really quite a bit to do. There's some more of the saddle spinners. Those are a couple of our favorites. That's actually like our best budget piece to throw in there. And it's just it's a ton of fun for all the kids. Every time I go to a park, those are always being used. And so it's something that we almost stick in. It's like about the smallest piece you can. So if you have any things to take down, you can always generally fit one of those just to try to fill the space. And like I said, they are always very, very popular. Right here, we have the Weesaw. So this is a nice inclusive piece. It's got molded bucket seats so that you're able to get in here, even if a kid has lower ability to be able to hold themselves upright, they'll still be able to get in here and have their parents be able to sit there and rock them. If they can reach in front of them, they can grab and they can kind of use their own body weight in motion to rock themselves. You also have a space here in the middle to be able to sit and hang out on and play as the other kids are going up and down. So you can really fit, 6 or 7 kids on one of these really pretty easy. And as they all play together, it's really fun to see. Yeah, there's this one. So this one was a little bit higher. Like I told you, I was going to go a little bit up and a little beyond, so you can have a wider view of what it was. This one came in at 161. I know you said 150. This was just a little bit higher than that, but it's a quite a bit bigger area. Let me see. I think it was like 2,700 square foot. So you're talking about just more expensive costs. Yeah, I forgot to take those out. But there's part of our other quote. The surfacing was mostly the difference in that, and that's because we just expanded the size quite a bit. And so there's always room to shrink it and grow it. All these are just different options we've done. And the spaces that we've kind of picked out and we're looking at, there's space to either have it bigger and or smaller. So and that's the other good thing too. If you ever decide that, hey, later on we want to add to it, we always can do that. So this is the next one. This is one of my favorite structures right here. This is the treetops. I would say this is probably our best bang for your buck 5 to 12 structure. It's got shade built into it. It's called the treetops, so naturally we have to use it in the brown and the light and the greens. The Cozy Dome right here is another one of my favorites. Pretty much when we got an email last week and they said, hey, I need to know your top 3 favorite playground pieces. These were my top 3. So I decided I had to put one together that has all of them, even if it was a little bit higher. So the Omni Spinner, this is an awesome spinner. You can fit a ton of kids on it. It's a great inclusive piece. If you're in a wheelchair, you can still wheel right up to it and transfer off. It's nice and smooth around the edge, and the seats fit and form your body nicely. The Cozy Dome is an awesome place for kids if they have problems with even like loud noises or they have autism. You can put yourself in a time in instead of a time out. You go and put yourself into the Cozy Dome. And you can kind of remove yourself from a bit of that noise from being out at the playground. And kind of give yourself that sense of security where you can still look out and see about and see all the other kids playing, but you're still kind of secluded in your own little dome, in your own little safe space. So we did that and we functionally linked it with a couple pods over to the structure, to the main structure, so that you can go from one thing to the next and, play, hey, the floor is lava, which every kid loves to do that. Another one of the cool things about the smart play line, which is what this is that they all kind of follow this triangle pattern, and it kind of gives kids a way to traverse. You have different ways to get across, right? If you wanted to go from this over here to up here, you can, or you go from here to the other side. And there's different paths and ways to get around for each different way for kids. So this one, I can send all this to you guys as well. This one came in just a tiny bit more. It was 163.3. So not necessarily the perfect 150, but I did say, well, we did go a little lower on some of the other ones, go a little higher on these ones to show you just a little bit brighter of what we can do.
So if you decide later on, let's say we did 2 of the structures, but we wanted to hold off on the dome, is that something that you can come and add to it later? Or is it something that needs to be?
So yes and no. It depends on really where it's at, I guess, in the playground. And so that's why I don't want to tell you yes, and I don't want to tell you no, because it's kind of like circumstantial. Because the turf is actually one of the nice things about that is that you can actually just pull it back and go in there and put something in, and then you can go in and put it down. Now, if you're trying to put something in the very middle and there's play structures all around it, it might be a bit of a pain depending on where seams and everything are. But if something that we were like well in advance, we were maybe trying to plan for it, it's something we can do, and or we just make sure we do that near the edge. And so all we have to do is just fit it in there too. But we can, if we knew we wanted to do that, if we want to do different phases, we can always plan for phases. We do it where we'll do master planning for some of the parks where we'll say, if we want to do this post and deck structure just like this, we can. And then in 20 years, we'll make a plan so that we will take off all those play components, and we'll take off the decks, and we'll replace all the decks, and we'll put all new play components on it. And then this is what the playground will be in 20 years. We'll go as far as that. And we can show you even examples of different towns that have done that. They've been going with LSI for so many years that they have now just reused the posts, right? Because the posts have a 100-year warranty. Nobody in this room is going to be alive in 100 years, but their posts are going to be having a warranty still. So if we can always utilize some of those ways of doing that, we will. Now the smart play line is not your traditional post and deck structure, but the one from the previous one in Fansler, it was. And that also being said, LSI is extremely, extremely good at keeping track of everything they've ever sold, even since the 70s, and then always being able to retrofit it with the exact piece and or be able to make it and or put something new on it that's going to be able to work better. And very, 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 very rarely is it ever that we can't do that. It's always, yep, we'll get that right over. And I've gotten probably 6 or 7 different parts requests in the last week alone. And I'm like, I've only been in this for a year. And so I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. And it's like, oh yeah, that was from 1990s. We stopped making those then. And it's like, well, it's lasted until now. And they're getting a part for it now. And I can even provide you guys with some cost of ownership analysis that we've had done. Different cities have done where they redo all their parks with us. And then we didn't ask them to do it. They just sent it to us and they said, hey, it's been 15 years. We just went and did a whole breakdown analysis of how much these playgrounds cost us over those 15 years. And they broke it down by year, how much it cost. And it was just like a really awesome thing. So they went back to go redo a bunch more playgrounds with them. So they had done a big analysis of it after that long of amount of time, just to see like, hey, did it work out? Did it pay off well to go with LSI? And sure enough, it did. So I would love to be able to share that with you guys as well. I think there's only really one thing that might take internet, and that's okay if we miss it. City Park, I did not do a specific design for that park. It's a weird spot. There's a bunch of trees and stuff, and I have the layout for it, and we can always do that. But I wanted to give you guys a handful of options, and that's a ton of work to be able to get all that in the time frame that we had. So I brought in a bunch of different examples that I know we can do for that price range. This is one that I'm having signed this week. I'm very excited about it. It's about 20 minutes from my house. And this is $1 million playground. This is the bowl area I was talking about. This is like 30 feet tall, slides are like 20 foot, 18 foot, they have a 12 foot, an 8 foot, double 6 foot. And there's all kinds of stuff to do up inside this. I'm not a small guy. Our other sales rep who's in southern or middle, central Indiana, he's about 6'5", 280. And this is the only structure he's ever been in that he did not have to hunch over and bend over and get down into a weird position to get in and through it. I know Ed could fit through it, and that's saying something. So he's quite a big guy. So here it is. We have a couple of the cozy domes. We have a Mobius climber, which is going to be like a rock climbing wall. Down here in the corner, we did have some workout equipment. This is all the top of the line turf. We did a blue pathway coming through here, so it's like a river. And we see we have a WeGo-Round. This is probably another one of our favorites. It's a merry-go-round, except for with wheelchairs. You can put a wheelchair in it and you can spin. And we have a lot of those. They're extremely popular. One just went in Galveston, not too far from here. And I did one in Rossville, not too far from here, really. They're an awesome piece. Western High School, that's where I graduated from. It's an awesome.
Now, for the $1 million, is that a basketball court?
So we are not doing the basketball court. That being said, Chatham Hills is where this is going in at. So we wanted to show that when they sent us their design, they had a basketball court there that they're putting it in. And so we just included that in one of our renderings to just make it feel a little bit more like a full, complete picture for them. Theirs is asphalt. Yeah, the basketball court, I believe, is going to be the asphalt for theirs.
Where's it located at?
This is at Chatham Hills. So you know where they're having the Live tournament this week? Live golf tournaments going on, and they're playing in Chatham Hills, just south of Kokomo, 20 minutes. So it'll be pretty intense.
Did you do the border around the court as well? Or because it looks like the exact same border around everything.
Yeah, so what they had was they had concrete. So Chatham Hills is this is just a tiny section of their overall plan. They're doing like they have a big lake that's kind of off of this. The houses are all backed up too, but then they're doing a big shopping center area. They're going to do a putt course area next to this kind of with us. And then they're doing the playgrounds. And then there's 5 acres off to the left-hand side here. That's just bare grass. That's not getting anything built. And then everything to the south of this is all going to be like different shops that you can to get stuff at, and boutiques and eateries and stuff like that. So they're actually trying to bring it in to make it so that they can kind of drive a bit of business in there as well. So there's going to be probably quite a bit of traffic at this place. But that's being said, this is going to be an attraction, right? And this is what's going to drive people in to that place. And that's what's going to make people spend their money, and people are going to stay there and spend their money at the local eateries and stuff that are going to be inside that little town there. Basically now is what's becoming. Which one? Sorry.
Huge playground that's going in.
They might. I don't think that we are. It's not my territory. I wish it was. I live in Noblesville, and I've been on them. Give me Noblesville, and I'll fight for it. Sean has that, and he lives in Plainsfield, so he's nowhere. He's on the opposite side of Indy, and I've been on him to give me it because I would love to. I would love to take it over. Noblesville has CRG. CRG is good people. I'm not going to be a dishonest person. Like, I like CRG. They're nice people. So I don't mind losing to them on some stuff. I like to share. But I do believe that LSI has the best equipment. I have to be honest about that too. I come from a construction background. I did my own construction company for 7 years. And then I worked at Midstate Engineering for several years as an engineer. And so I'm the odd guy who's, when I'm at an amusement park or wherever I'm at, I'm looking at the welds. I'm just that type of guy. I look at the stuff that most people aren't going to pay attention to, and I can appreciate that type of thing. And so a lot of times when I go to playgrounds, I'll be looking at that, right? And I can say that, yeah, LSI, when I'm looking at things like that, we are very particular when it comes to how we want our stuff finished. Landscape Structures is an ESOP, so it's owned by its employees. There's about 850 employees from Delano, Minnesota, that own Landscape Structures. So it's not owned by a private equity firm that's trying to scrap everything to make the bottom line as pretty as it can for themselves, right? These are all people who have tied interest into their company and they want to see it succeed and grow. And really, when you have that, you have people that show up to work with a passion, and it's hard to beat that, right? When another company's all about money, and that's all it is, it's easy to lose sight of what it's really about. And for us, it's about making inclusive playgrounds for everybody. And I can show you when all of our stuff comes out, and then the mimics that every other company comes out with 3-4 years later, to try to compete with what we put out. And it's really awesome to see, what they come out with every year. That being said, some of these pieces, if we wanted to shrink it down, now this one was $1 million park. They got tax. They weren't tax free. So I still think even with doing all of the site work and stuff, we'd still be in there at that range, even if we just did it all, right? Because tax was on $500,000 worth of equipment. It's over 35 grand, So it's and you guys aren't paying tax, and they had to pay tax on the turf. They had to pay tax on everything. So this is $1 million playground with tax, and they can't do Sourcewell, which you guys would be able to do Sourcewell, which would be a really nice way. And if nobody here knows about Sourcewell, Sourcewell is a way to satisfy a bid contract. So say you guys were looking at this and you said, we love that, we want to work with you. And you guys generally, if it's over X amount of money, say it's $25,000, whatever that is, you guys have to submit that out to a bid to the public. If you go through a purchasing network like Sourcewell, it's a government contract, and they say that they get with all the companies. You could do this with probably even the UTVs he's talking about. I'm almost positive they have some type of purchasing network for this. But it satisfies the bid, and it gets you guys a bit of a discount. And I mean, it's literally a win-win for everybody, right? You guys don't have to go through the whole bid process. You have to waste anybody else's time with it. You get a discount, and yeah, win-win-win. So they weren't able to do that because they're not like a government entity. You guys would qualify for that. So these quotes I did put on here, most of them, I think that I did do Sourcewell discount on them just to provide. This one didn't have one because I didn't do it for the $1 million one, but the other ones I did put that in there, so that you guys I would be able to reflect that for you guys tonight.
Well, we're hoping that the grants come back in the next couple of years. Have you heard any more?
I have not heard too much. It's been so busy right now. Everything has, but generally, I have another meeting, like another big sales meeting coming up next week. So might hear some more about that then. Greg, he works with everybody he's like a fundraising assistant is what we call him. But he's retired from Kokomo. He was on like the board of directors and all everything for them, and he wrote all of the grants. He's on both sides of grant writing and receiving for them, and he worked for Ivy Tech and all kinds of different things. So he's retired from that, but he works for us part-time now, and he helps out with that. So I can put you guys in touch with him, and we'd love to meet and go through these, and we help put together different campaigns to be able to go out and fundraise. We help you guys look for different grants for the playgrounds. Another one that I was talking to you a bit about was Patronicity, which is another awesome thing you guys can use. And I'd utilize it for more than just parks. You could do it for really any project, even the ones that you're talking about with the it has to be over $5,000. It's between $5,000 and $50,000. And it will give you guys, so whatever you set your goal, you have to meet that goal in X amount of time. I think it's like 3 months. But you fundraise for those 3 months or however long it was, and you have to hit your goal. But say you hit that goal, they'll match it. So say you had $5,000 goal, you want to make it, made $5,000, they gave you the 5. So now you have $10,000. If you want to go $50,000, you can fundraise that $50,000. They'll match you $50,000. The only stipulation with it is that it has to be the final remainder of your goal. So say, just for quick math, you want to do a $150,000 playground. you would have to be able to say, hey, we have $100,000 already raised. We need this last, or 50. So you say we need to raise 25, or say we have 50, we need to make it to 100, we need to make it to 150. So we need to make that 50,000. So you guys will match that. So then they say, okay, you guys are qualified for this now. And I can put you in touch with Bridget, who does that, and she's amazing to work with. And they have a lot of repeat people who come back and utilize them. And it's great. The main thing is they want to drive the community to get involved, because the more community get involved together and the more they take part in it, the more pride they're going to take in it, and the better they're going to take care of the equipment. And so they do have a couple rules. One person can't donate the whole thing. I think it's more than, or what it is, 25 or 30% is what you're allowed to donate as a single individual. Obviously, there's probably ways to get around that if you really felt like it, but there's a couple of stipulations. But yeah, I think that's really a handful more of these pictures. And then I'll show you a couple other just.
I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Indiana Bond Bank?
Indiana Bond Bank?
Yeah.
I am not. I have not been in this long enough, but I can ask 100%.
So it's like a pseudo government entity, the state, on some projects, like, for instance, Noblesville.
Right.
A couple years ago, they purchased several fire truck, some street department equipment, police cars, and they financed it through the Indiana Bond Bank. What they do, they're like a clearinghouse. They've got certain qualified banks that they can use. They'll go out, they'll do the basically do all the legwork for basically a way to short circuit having them to advertise to the banks to get the lowest rate and that sort of thing. We've used that to purchase a piece of equipment here. I know with the park or with the pool, I don't think we could have used it for the pool itself, but for the equipment, I think we may have been able to use them. And I'm just wondering if that's something that we should look at, if that's an option. And, they set the rate and, you come up with the terms, and if you're okay with it, then we get city council to approve it. And then, you can basically finance it that way. So I just don't know if park equipment qualifies.
So actually, you say that, we actually have a thing called NCL financing, and it is basically the same thing. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like it's through government process, similar to Sourcewell type of thing, but they have set rates, and I can put you in touch with them. But it is financing, and great way to think of it is just like, hey, there's nothing really in this world that you buy that's that expensive that you're just paying for it right up front, that you have to have 100% of the cash ready on hand. Especially when you're buying a product that's going to have at minimum a 15-year warranty on it, right? And so that's what they basically have noticed, and that's what they've realized. And the government said, hey, this doesn't really make sense. Small towns need some help. So we were able to offer financing, and they even have it so that you can defer payments for up to a year on that payment plan. They work with you if you want to pay it quarterly, if you want to pay it monthly, if you want to pay it yearly. They have different options. So I can always put you guys in touch with them as well. That is definitely something we can do. And if it's something we wanted to look at, to say, I know it can come in handy when you're talking about purchasing something at the end of a year versus at the beginning of the next year, especially if maybe you had it in your plans to do a park next year, and you guys are going to have the funds allocated for it next year, but you wanted to buy it now and allocate it, to get it on order now. You can instantly use the funds from the NCL financing, is what's just what I'm saying. And then you can utilize that to lock in this price, right, for the playgrounds now. And then you'd have to get through until the next year. And you can start your payments that time, or just pay it off once you get your funds ready for the next year. And you could talk to see if there's any payoff for any like early loan payoffs, et cetera. But I don't think it was anything crazy like that. So it's definitely something to utilize.
I think we can do the pocket parts and get out of the budget. Yeah. But that big part, that would definitely be,
Look at it.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we just
Take this stuff home and figure out what we want. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, really. Take a look. I mean, I can send you guys stuff over from tonight, all the different examples that I have given you guys when we talked about. And then, yeah, stay in touch. Let me know what you guys think. And if you want to see other options, by all means, I can give you guys another 2 or 3 options for each place.
Sure.
So yeah, I appreciate you guys' time and thank you guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate it.
I do have a couple videos, but I'll just send you guys them.
Okay.
Because I don't think I'll have the internet to make it work. Do you want to keep this one for a while?
Right. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. What do you guys think about that? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
It is often how cool it stays comparatively to, yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Well, thank you guys for
Thank
giving me
you.
your time.
Thank
I'll be a bit slow. I'm gonna set it there. Snap this from you guys.
You want this book, right?
No, it's all you guys.
All right.
I'll find more for you next time. More goodies.
Miss Amy.
I'll do more.
All
I have to say, I feel like Chuck is probably has the patience of Job because we have made him wait so many different times, but I just wanted to give some context. So in March, I had to check my notes. We had talked about Beth and Dwayne and I and a few others regarding knowing 100% what the park board IC code that it was established under, roles and responsibilities. So we have talked to Chuck probably more than he wants to talk to us. I think he's been really gracious, but just to understand what it is that we are wanting to accomplish. And so I've talked to Mitch about it, and Ed and Kim, Dwayne, and everybody at Ad Nauseam, just to understand, make sure that it makes sense. And so what he is proposing today was based on all the insight provided related to providing the full understanding of the IC code for the parks, that it currently stands under the roles and responsibility, which is what military men love, who's responsible for what, and when, where, how, and then helping to drill down the lovely USI 5-year plan that Leanne Jones and her team did into a bite-sized budgetable 1-year plan. So Chuck's gonna share more about it, but that's just a little bit of reminder because we've been talking about this and punting it for a few times. So that's where we're at. So this is Chuck.
Appreciate it. Good evening. My name is Chuck Lehman. I was a landscape architect and planner with B3 companies. I'm out of Mishawaka. B3 has several different offices. The other office in Indiana is in Indianapolis. What we have done with a lot of park agencies is what we call a kind of a general services agreement. And what we have proposed is a general services agreement for City of Rochester to, as Amy said, to talk a little bit more about the Indiana statute for Parks Recreation, to review, basically define the vehicle for you to be able to continue and to run efficiently on that. We talked about maybe having a kind of a work session within that framework. And then we also know that you have just completed your 5-year plan, and you know, a great testimony of how that operations of the organization is going to work is how we can use that as a test area to actually proceed into that strategies of that 5-year plan. Because 5-year plan is as good as how you use it and promote it. So what we had proposed is a not to exceed dollar amount on that for that strategies, and to talk about the park statute. We said that was going to be a $6,000 amount that would just be on an hourly basis up to that point. If there was additional $5,000 there, if this if there's other things that we need to follow up on that comes up through that process, we would be available to help out on that standpoint too. If there is not any other elements, we go up to the $6,000 amount, and there's nothing else that's required. The 6,000 is what we would charge you for that. But I think that just having a communication to make sure that there is an understanding on that is going to be an important element for you to be able to run this as a vehicle into the coming future on that, because we don't want any slippage along that way. So just a quick overview on that. Is there any questions that you have at this point in time?
And Beth was saying, well, Dwayne and I talked earlier, so the $5,000 was if you felt like, because one of the things Beth was talking about or had shared on a text was the kind of that structure of who does what, but the policies and procedures, which Andy could probably help with to make that happen, to make it easier and to cut the costs related to that. Sorry, Chuck.
No,
cut the cost out there because he's available to do that. He had told Dwayne that. So if just looking at that training and the, roles and responsibilities, putting that structure together under the IC code, and then teaching the strategic planning piece and helping to drill that down, that would be like a one-time thing, you're one and done. And then from that perspective, you could basically do whatever additional things that needed to be done that Beth would want. As far as like the policies and procedures, Andy potentially, I don't know if he's 100% guaranteed that he said he would do that. But that was what was told to me, to save some costs and to cut some of those costs, is to be able to add that as like an additional support to what needs to be done. So.
So
Basically, what you're gonna do is, tell us about the IC on the parks and how to interpret it or do what we're supposed to for $5,000.
That and also work toward, for 6,000, we would also work on the action plan and the priorities of the 5-year plan.
We've already paid 46,000 for that 5-year plan.
Well.
One of the other things that we can bring to the table also is that we work with different park agencies throughout the state, and how not only fulfillment of the statute, but several, give you different examples. There can be various committees that the park board is set up that can engage not only the park board members, but it could be members of staff, members of the community that should be looking after that too. There may be a component of your 5-year plan that continuing that engagement of the community, where given those priorities, there may be a workforce or task force that actually would help champion that as it moves forward.
Chuck, I have a question. You've worked with Logansport with Jen.
Right.
Okay. So just a little background. I'd actually talked to Janet Fowley, who's the Parks Director down at Logansport, a couple of years ago and I think it was before this park board was put together as far as the current members, to try to help Rochester develop our park program into something that's more mature and more standalone, more able to continue to operate without, the board members coming in and out. You get certain board members that drive the parks this way and others that drive it this way. Try to get into something that's constant so that as new members come on, it just continues to work in a direction that helps improve and promote the parks. Because it's what, like in the past, we've had, the parks superintendent position, however you want to call that, has always been kind of the redheaded stepchild of the street department. At some point, to see that get to be fully developed into something that looks like, for lack of a better example, Logansport and how they operate. And I realize they're a larger community, but at some point, that's where I think we should go with this. And so in talking to her, she suggested Chuck to help work through some of that stuff. And so, and then it was like, I wrote his name down, I had all the information, and then a couple of years have gone by, and then now this is where we're at, and then, so I had to call her again and you know, get his information. And so that's how we ended up here.
Yeah. Well, because Beth was trying to look up all the stuff about the park and she couldn't find it. So then that's where, when I was talking to Dwayne about it, then Dwayne said, well, I have this person. I was like, I've met him before, but that's a long time ago. And so it just got into multiple conversation points of just providing an opportunity for structure for Dwayne and for the park, because that's what you guys talk about all the time. And Kim talks about this a lot, is being able to understand, not just for today, what that looks like. And that's Beth's thing, is today you might be functioning better, but Beth would love, and she said I can say this, she's at a meeting, to have the ability to have some documents that she knows what everything's supposed to be, so that she doesn't have to go dig through things. And then also roles and responsibilities, build those out like what Dwayne was talking about, so that if you guys are there, then that would, you know, you have it. If someone else is there, they would have it. So from whether it's Trent or whoever the mayor is, it wouldn't change back and forth, because Kim and Dwayne and everybody's been saying that the park changes based on the wind, because there's not that understanding of the structure. So.
And the other thing is, you have, you know, a past mayor that things were run this way and changed, when I'm used to the other mayor before that, and it was totally different. And then, you know, then we end up, things just changed. When Dwayne was hired, I, you know, resigned. And so when I came back, it was like black and white, totally different of how everything, you know, was run. So I was confused, who is supposed to do this and who's supposed to do that, or can I do this, or is it only Dwayne or Landon? So yeah, that's where my confusion, you know, I don't want to overstep my boundaries, but I'm also a go-getter, and I love going out and getting quotes and doing this and that, whatever. But I, you know, want to make sure that I do it correctly also.
Based on what the language is.
Yeah,
And
so
that's what
I just want it to be one way or the other, and quit changing. You know, because then it's like, well, you shouldn't have done that, well, you shouldn't have done that, and so we're up.
So it's not like
That's
he
what I
said,
meant.
she said, it's based on what
Yeah.
you keep saying, Kim, to me, is that it's not based on he said, she said, or what mayor is involved in the situation, but based on facts. And that's what Beth was talking about too, based on the facts of what it's supposed to be and not supposed to be. So.
And again, I think if you have good following of policy and procedures, job responsibilities, roles, and so on, you can change the complexion of the park board administration and so on. And even as a new park board member would come on, there would be a handbook, if there, you want to use that term, for what role that new park board member would have, it, knowing that the interactions happen. It's just basically setting up a vehicle that doesn't change complexions, you know, over a period of time.
So it'd be like a standard operating procedure, a handbook that says, reference everything that, like, would it have a chain of command over?
Yeah, it would have an organizational chart, roles, responsibility, job descriptions, even qualifications possibly in that. We can work on the details of those policy and procedures as it relates to that, how budgets are approved. I mean, there's some state codes that will need to be continued to be followed, but again, how you conduct yourselves is really the key element.
One of the challenges we have here, and it's a state problem that needs to be corrected, but I don't know if it ever will, is, in my opinion, the ridiculous code that we have to follow to have not only have to have somebody in the city limits, but also has to have a Democrat on the board. When we have so very few of them in our county anyway, so I can't get the person I want. Well, sorry, you're a Republican, we need a Democrat. I got the same thing on my water board. And I just talked, I had an overnight guest Friday night, former mayor of Sullivan for 3 terms. And now he works for AIM on the southern half of the state as ambassador, and he confirmed, yeah, it's absolutely stupid. Is that, you see that ever changing for a small community?
A slow fuse to be ignited, but the same thing when you did your 5-year plan. you had to designate who is following, you know, that for the Rs and Ds, you know, on that. Doesn't make any sense if they're, you know, the movement of the complexion of the community is in the leadership that's there. It's not necessarily if it's a, you know, what political. I don't know if I could get into politics, I could play.
Well, I'm gonna try and address it, but I'm not confident I have any.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
there's
been addressed by other mayors too with the
Yeah,
state
yeah,
legislators that this is,
Yeah,
especially in a small community.
yeah, exactly. And the small communities are the ones that's hurt the most from that.
I've had some really good candidates. Unfortunately, they live just outside of town. So they're not right.
I know.
And they won't move.
Well, you can
I
annex
can
it.
annex it in, I guess. I think you guys, I think you guys should have a discussion over this.
Yeah, we need to set,
Yeah.
we need to talk about it and we can't decide tonight.
That's fine, that's fine. Give me, you have my number. If you need to have any questions or anything, feel free to give me a call.
Thank you.
And Beth did say the money's there. She confirmed that because we've been talking about it since March. So she had earmarked that money in the budget just for purposes of in case. So it's in
Okay,
the
so
budget.
how would this work? If we did hire you, then we would do this outside of the park board meetings. We would have our own meetings so that we'd have more personal and,
You can, but I think you're still gonna have a quorum, so you'll still need to publish it, but that way
Okay.
the focus will be that agenda, not your typical monthly agenda.
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine trying to work something like that
Yeah.
in on. Cause we're usually
Yeah.
pretty busy.
You could always call a special meeting just for that particular thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's only a 1 day thing, right, Chuck? For
Yeah,
the, for
I
the
mean-
in-person thing is what you had said, because
Yeah.
you would ask him and I and whoever else was in that meeting.
Yeah, and there'll be some homework data collection that we'll obviously have to do on ourselves before we meet to form the framework for that agenda and stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Get back to me.
I will.
I'll be happy to come back next month if you want that.
Sure, that'd be great. Where did you come from? So you have a little
But
drive.
I'm down, up and down this corridor.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lost my agenda. I don't know. Trent,
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna discuss that potential property. It's not available yet. If it becomes available,
okay,
I'll bring it up, but, I think I've got a reason I don't really want to discuss too much about it this morning. It would be good for the park if it comes available, if we get it. If they agree to sell, then I'll bring it to you.
Dwayne, on the parking lot, are you getting with USI on? Okay, all right. Somebody want to make a motion? Anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
The only thing is, we talked about those sidewalks last year that got approved on the bike trail there. When you go into those pavilions,
Yeah.
now that the trail is basically longer in that, it'd be kind of nice to.
Actually, I need to get back to them. I've got, Todd Brooks are doing some other work for us. In the next week or so, and we'll get that work.
And the grills.
And the grills.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. Very much, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thanks,
Very good.
everyone.
It's.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
Meeting or anything,
Yeah, we did.
sound like that.
Good job.
On being told.
Oh, I thought you was firing me.
We did.
Do what?
It's not. Hit Lee.
You hit the X.
Hey, Trent.
Hey, Kim.
Some of the trucks.
Okay.
Hit X and it stops it, right?
Shoot off it. Did you?
Shut this off?
Yep.